All right, welcome back to Judging Bouncing Balls. I kind of cut out pretty quickly. How you doing, Toby?
Right. We're doing good, man. It's been a while. Been let's just say that it's been a long couple weeks here. Got a lot to talk about. Me and you haven't even been face to face in a while. You've been traveling in the we'll call it the Northeast. I think they put where you're at.
Sure. We've been in that magical minivan from 2008.
We're going to talk about that too, man. I saw the pictures you posted, and there is nothing but smiles. And my wife, Jackie, asked me today, she's like, do you think they ever fight? And I'm like, oh, God, they have to. Like, it's just nature. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it's more I'll tell you where Sarah gets really perturbed with me is on the road when I'm driving. I get so fired up when like semis pull in front and try to pass in the passing lane. If there's truck drivers out there, I apologize, but I get so fired up when they just barely are like a half a mile faster than the other dude. And I would have gone past him in 2 seconds and they just cut right out in front of you and they just slowly pass. That drives me bonkers. I lose it. And then she's always like, why do you get so mad? You need to just calm down. I'm like, that gets my goat.
As a road warrior on the sales side, me and the semis, I try to play politely, but I gotta be honest. This was a couple years ago. I was over past Eau Claire, and all of a sudden the semi was next to me, and then he pulled in front of me, and then he hit his brakes, and I'm like, oh, what is like? And I'm like, all right, come on. Let's giddy up, and then there's been a couple of movies out there, right? Like that where the semi driver takes advantage and the guy ends up in a well, and he's missing his arm and his leg and his head, and I'm like, so I back off, and then I go roaring past him, and I hope I never see him again.
Yeah, down the rest stop, and then he's there.
Yeah, I am at a public place getting gas with a lot of people around me because I don't know if you know this, but I'm not a very good fighter.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. But anyway, so that one bothers me. The other one, it really bothers me is when there's 3 lanes of traffic and they pass in the 3rd passing lane. To me, that is like should be off limits. That's why I really liked Ohio. Ohio had a thing right up on every overpass that showed trucks are not allowed in the 3rd lane. Like you could not have a truck. And I'm like, they should not be in the 3rd lane. If there's 2 lanes, sometimes you got to pass, but they should never be in the 3rd lane. But that's just me. I get fired up when they do that.
So you ended up going to Maryland, correct?
Correct. Assateague, Maryland is where we went, which is over by. It's all the way past our good old Washington, D.C., and it's in like, if you've ever been to the Outer Banks, it's basically like the Outer Banks, but in Maryland. I didn't even know that existed, but it's pretty cool. I mean, you got these little shoal islands that are really skinny, all sand, and then there's just a bunch of wild horses on them. So, that was where we found ourselves.
Did you rent a beach? Because there looked like there was nobody around.
No, there was people, but they were kind of spread out down the way. It was a lot of beach and not a lot of people, so it was pretty open.
So you can't I take it you could camp on the beach, but did you have to rent an area, or how did that work, or do you just stake your claim like the old Wild West?
You just went right in and had a wild
Castleberg flag,
wild pony, and just slammed out. No, they had campsites you could reserve, and we registered a campsite, and so that's Sarah took care of all that, and I just was along for the ride. I was the chauffeur.
Of course she did.
Yeah. So it was good. It was a lot of ocean sounds, which is great, and it was something I'd never done or never been to, so that was a lot of fun. I give Sarah credit; she always finds good ones.
So you went through Illinois, Ohio, or Indiana, Ohio. And then did you cut south?
We did a lot of Pennsylvania, almost all of Pennsylvania. Then we dipped into Maryland, and then a little bit of West Virginia, and then Maryland again, and then all the way through. So,
isn't it crazy how big Pennsylvania is?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh my gosh.
Ever.
If you have not done that drive recently, you're going to spend half $100. You're going to spend $50 on tolls from the drive. We were in tolls from Illinois to Maryland. It was unbelievable. It was over $50 in tolls just one way out. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, we had an iPass, and I think I loaded it up. I think with $100, and I got a bill for. Well, we went to New York, so that tunnel into New York ran out of money, I guess, on the tolls because I got a bill for $13 each way. $13 to get into New York. I'm like, that's a ripoff, right? People do it every day. But you're correct. There are tolls everywhere. Welcome to Ohio. Pay up. Thanks for leaving Ohio. Pay up.
You're coming and going.
Yeah. But I will say Pennsylvania was beautiful. A lot more hilly than I thought. You know, we took the northern tier because we went through State College and then on. But you get excited to see Pennsylvania. You think you're there, and you're not there. You're not there.
That's
like hitting Wausau when you're going to the cities. You know, it's like you're only halfway home.
That is true. So no, it's definitely a long drive. I think it was all told like 16 out, and we took a little detour to Shenandoah Valley, so it ended up being like 20 back. But it was a haul. But the van made it.
Any hotels?
One on the way out and one on the way back. So on the drive, split up a little. I'll tell you what, I don't sleep well even on the sand. Oh, my back I woke up in the middle of the night so many times, and I was just like, oh my God, I cannot do this. I'm still tired.
You should have left a little note like, hey, Dad went for milk, and then go to the Hilton, and then come back the next day and be like, oh, hey. Had to go a little farther than I thought. Yeah.
So anyway, it was a good time.
Awesome.
So what's new with you?
While you were, before that, you were up in like Mount Royal or the Royal Alps of the UP, or where were you?
Isle Royale. Yeah.
Isle Royale.
Yeah. Have you ever been?
No.
You got to
didn't even know it existed.
3-hour ferry ride each way, and then you're in the middle of nowhere on Lake Superior. So it was pretty cool. It was very remote. Saw wolf, saw moose. I mean, it was pretty crazy.
They consider Lake Superior the Caribbean of the North. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I haven't, but we can start it.
Yeah, well, if you're selling property up there, that's a very good line to use.
I'll keep that in mind.
Well, while you were enjoying moose and wolf, I had the I forget the word I'm looking for here, but I got to pick up Amelia and Macy, and we flew out to Denver. So I'm going to be honest, me and flying, I don't ever want to fly again. Now we have to for the world.
Hey, you know what I realized? You do have a lot of bad luck flying. When I flew with you, we had bad luck, and I'd never had bad luck. And then you flew again and had bad luck. I'm like, Toby's bad luck.
Well, yeah, when we flew, they're like, listen, we don't have the fuel pump doesn't work, so we're going to land somewhere because we're going to run out of fuel. And okay. So we get about everything's going great. We're on time. About 90 or about 60 minutes, 95 miles, I forget what it is, north side of Denver. Folks, buckle in here. The airport is closed. And I'm like, wow, that seems a little crazy to me. Sure enough, a thunderstorm came through with wicked winds. And the only reason we didn't land is because we were behind out of the gate. So we got pushed back about a half hour, and we'd have made it. We'd have made it on the ground, and we would have dealt with the storm in the airport, which I'd have been fine with. So we take 2 laps because Southwest has a little screen, and you can watch where your flight is, and we're circling. And all of a sudden, you hear the old folks, we're going to head down to Amarillo, Texas for refueling. We only have 2 hours of fuel left. And I'm like, that seems like a long way to go. Like, I'll be honest, like, can this bird get there? So we get about 3/4 of the way to Amarillo, and you hear Denver Airport's back open, but because we're into this, we're gonna stay on our trip. Oh, and now I'm like, oh no, like, are we gonna spend the night at Amarillo? Because first thing in my head, right? It's a weather related. So Southwest will be like, you're on your own. We play at 10 a.m. the next day. I've been through this with our club. Fly early and get there. I thought we did. But so we land in Amarillo. Don't get off the airplane. And then the people get up and they start walking. Like they're important enough to stretch their legs. I'm like, listen, guy, sit down, because I am jammed in this chair and I am getting angry. Because now I'm starting to get the sweats, right? Once you get the sweats, they don't stop. Like, there's nothing that's going to stop the sweats. I did arrange it so Amelia and Macy had exit row, but aisleway and window. And they put I'm like, put all your stuff in the middle seat and then put your head down. Don't look up. So I kind of did the old box out, like, oh, look at them. Nobody should sit next to me. So we had an empty seat in the middle, and so did the girls. So at least we had that. 45 minutes to an hour in Amarillo, back in the airplane, land about 1 a.m. Uncle Johnny was there, thank goodness. He had gotten early a couple days, so he picked us up, got us to the airport, checked in, up at 8, time change. Girls played well. So now, right, we're on to soccer. Did you know that there was a team snap that went out that we were supposed to buy shorts?
No.
Okay, good. So we go and we have nothing. And the team mom of Iowa, because Jamie had sent me a thing like, hey, you can get these on Amazon. I'm like, why do I buy shorts on Amazon? I'm not buying shorts on Amazon. Like, that's crazy. So they had a full kit for each girl. Thank goodness.
I thought they were going to do that anyway.
Yeah, I guess we were supposed to buy shorts.
Okay.
Oh, well. We didn't take them. I mean, we ended up giving all their stuff back, which was kind of us.
Well,
so we play, I forget, a team out of the gate, 6-0. Next day, 5-0. And I'm like, oh, man, I start to question not the fact of the team, but just the tournament in whole again, right? We've been through this. You go and I'm looking around. There isn't a college coach to be seen. Like, I don't even know if anybody was at college, like went to college, was even there, like put in a good word for anybody. So that kind of became disappointing. And then we tied Texas on our third day, but we had advanced. So I had bought airline tickets for Saturday to Wednesday. Because I'm like, all right, we play Sunday, right. Monday, Tuesday, semis on Wednesday, finals on Thursday. We're going to roll the dice because I kind of didn't think about it.
And to be fair, right, when we booked this, we were told it was ECNL playoffs. And so when you think about it, you're like, you kind of look at everything. We had kind of figured if it's ECNL playoffs, which that means the likelihood of you advancing out of that is pretty tough, right? I mean, likelihood of you going all the way to the end, if it's ECNL playoffs, pretty tough. So that's why we booked through Wednesday.
Right. I'm like, we're out of here Wednesday because I didn't want to go. If we got knocked out in the first 3 games, I didn't need to spend Denver for the cost.
2 days.
Right. So, yes. So what really chapped me, and I'll say this to the world. So we had a stay and play. We booked stay and play said hotel Hilton Airport, which saw 3 suckers coming in the door at midnight, right? They're like, these three need a room so bad. So I expect to get up and I'm going to see the team in the lobby. And I see one girl and her mom. And I'm like, okay, odd. But, and then we saw Jamie and Katie. And we get to the field and I'm like, hey, is anybody doing anything after? And they're like, no, we got our hotel up in Thornton. And no, we got a VRBO over here. And I'm like, wait a sec. I'm like, what happened to the stay and play? They're like, well, they announced the stay and play a little late and everybody had already booked. So the cancellation fees. So we petitioned the league and the league was fine with it. I'm like, wow, that's fantastic.
Thanks.
Because I could have stayed we could have stayed, 15,
Anywhere.
20 minutes to the north, right? So that is what it is. But then we win Wednesday, and I have to now, because I rolled the dice and didn't tell anybody, because I'm like, well, we're gonna lose. We'll just lose and we'll get out of here. Well, we win. So I call the director of Iowa and I'm like, hey boss, I got some news for you. And to be honest, I had called Southwest, right? And the lady's like, well, it'll be like $1,000 or $1,100 to switch the airline tickets. And I'm like, ooh, that seems like a little much. And you had just gone back into phone, like where I could text you.
Yeah.
So I did some calculations and I'm like, we're gonna call the director and just lay it on the line. I said, hey boss, I gotta be honest, we booked out a Wednesday and I apologize. I tried to make sense. He's like, no worries, you can drive back with me. And
no, I can't.
because he's like, I'm gonna miss my flight too. And I didn't put it together, but Macy goes, Dad, he didn't even believe they were gonna make it. I'm like, that's a great point.
That's true. That is a great
so
point.
I think at the end of the day, Iowa won. They were a very good team. But I'm glad we came home. I was pretty burnt out. I know the girls were burnt out. And I had left it up to them too. I had asked Amelia, I said, hey, do me a favor, text your dad. And if you guys are like, hey, we feel we should stay, Brazos are going to figure it out. And she's like, nope, let's go. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And my phone started blowing up because I was starting getting texts from the director and the coach. And now I'm starting to feel terrible. So it was 9,000 degrees out. And
I mean,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, I felt bad too. I mean, it's not like we set out with the intention of, hey, we're gonna be there and then bail on you. I mean, we really legitimately thought that was not going to happen, or we weren't going to be in that situation where we were going to have to. We had actually talked about it, that we booked an extra day thinking we probably won't even be there for that. Like, we don't even think that if it was really ECNL playoffs, we'd looked at kind of like how ECNL goes, and we're like, they may not even get out of their initial group. So we might be there an extra day where we don't even have anything to do. So we actually had the intention of overbooking rather than underbooking. It just turned out we didn't realize what kind of tournament it was. We thought it was something totally different.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a rec tournament in Northern Colorado.
Right. If we knew it was a rec tournament, we'd have been like, oh yeah, let's book it a little longer. So anyways.
So we ended up going to a movie theater. Because I'm like, I was struggling, man. My phone, I just felt terrible. And at one point I'm like, let's just stay. And then I'm like, no, that's, and then, so we went, I turned off my phone. At least I thought I did. We watched Twisters. And that was the first time I've ever been to a Dream Lounger.
Nice. They're nice.
Yeah, they were amazing. So Macy's like, Dad, your phone keeps ringing. And because it would light up the whole movie theater. And finally I just turned it off. I'm like, I need a break. And then we got to the airport and we flew out, and I was just happy to be.
Yeah.
When I saw you at the exit, at my exit, waiting to pick up Amelia, I'm like, oh, here you go. I gotta go to bed and put this behind me.
Yeah, that was when did we actually switch with each other? Wasn't it like 1:30 in the morning?
It was like 1:45, I think, was the ETA.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I got in,
but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, when we drove right up to the campground after that, and I got into the campground at like 4:10 or something like that. So
where was the campground?
It was up in where is it? It's just south of Iron Mountain.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a late night. We were all feeling it the next day, just as I'm sure you were too. Because when I saw you, it was like I could tell you were ready to be done. Travel had done it.
I was done, and the girls were great. They fell asleep, and but man, I had it that whole trip. And it taught us some stuff. I mean,
yeah,
even with the so our team has now been invited to our club has like 4 teams going, or 5, to Arizona for the USYS quarterfinals in January, and that came out at a bad time for the Brazos. I'll be honest with you, because I was pretty fired up coming out of Denver I'll say it was no fault to our club asking us to go. I think it
No.
was, I think Paul, 'cause I was a little surly when I was at Denver. I'm like, this beep and Paul, what the, and he's like, I told you. And I know, probably should have listened, but the opportunity was there. College coaches were galore. Princeton, Stanford, like they were all there. They must have been hiding. But
Yeah.
so when then Arizona came out, we kind of really just we hit the brakes, because usually we're a family that's like, you know what, team, we got to go. And it was nothing to do with anything. I know I had texted you. We were texting a little bit, and I'm like, we're just not there yet. Kind of weighed the options, made sure, we did want to see who was in for a while. There it was 7, and then all of a sudden shot to 11, and I felt more comfortable spending the money. So we ended up saying yes, as did yourself.
Yep.
So we're off to Arizona.
Yes, sir. No, I think it's going to be good. I don't know for sure, but I almost kind of feel like this might be the last kind of big hurrah. This year is what I'm saying, because I don't really know for their last year. I don't know what it looks like. I know we had a couple girls go down to Kansas City with us. That was kind of their last hurrah, but that was kind of a mishmash of a team because it was the last hurrah. So this would be like the last time that these girls really travel competitively this year together, at least at great distance.
Right. I don't know how it worked, because if you're, and we'll get to our camps and different things, but let's say you do you come out of your high school season and you do get an offer, and you're like, this is where I want to go, you have to continue to play, but are you going to continue to spend that kind of money to travel to play, or do you train and do it on your, there's so many facets of what you can do.
I would venture a lot of girls are not going to be willing or interested in, especially if they've already committed to a school, whatever level that is. I would venture that's kind of the same for a lot of clubs. I mean, I know that you still want to be sharp and push yourself against competition, but there's also a cost side that goes to it as well. It's like, do you really need to be going all over the place? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm not saying I won't. I don't know what that looks like yet. So
right. No, and the way the speed of this calendar right now, I don't even want to think about it, because I need this to slow down. I mean, summer's over. It's
unreal.
Like, yeah. I mean, if you think about soccer wise, when did Amelia not play soccer? I mean, I given she played hockey, but she still was on our team, still practiced. She still made it to every practice she could. And then we went to Orlando, Tampa, right? And then we fired up high school.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we went to regionals, and then we went to Colorado, and then camps. And then we actually missed the first day of practice because we were at a camp, and you guys had done camps and then a little vacation. I mean,
yep.
It is like it used to be a 3-month, and then it moved to 6, and then it got to 11, and now it's at 12. I'm like, holy buckets.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I was actually, Sarah and I talked about this. We definitely noticed over the last month or two a little difference in Amelia, and we actually had a talk with her just because we were kind of concerned that maybe she was either getting a little burned out, or it just didn't seem like it was, she even went to a couple camps, and the camps didn't go the way she wanted, or at least she didn't feel like she didn't feel like she'd showed her best self, I guess is how you'd put it. And so then you could just tell it was a little different. And I think this is something that, parents ought to, definitely have to be aware of. We kind of caught us blindsided just because Amelia's always been super interested in soccer and always excited about it. But we just kind of felt like she wasn't as excited. And we talked to her about it. She doesn't even really know, honestly, but I still wonder if she's a little burned out. I mean, it's just like to your point, it's just a lot of travel and it's a lot of moving around. So to me, it kind of feels like she just got burnt out a little bit, and I don't blame her. I mean, it's to your point, it's 12 months a year.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've been, and I think you need club soccer. Club soccer is where the girls are playing top level. They're getting noticed. But I really enjoy high school season. I enjoy that February, March, where it's off, and they can kind of train and get I know Amelia, she plays other sports, but Macy used it as she did training for her body, more speed and just getting in shape. And then
Yeah.
high school, I drove to Wausau and I was back at night in my
Yeah.
own bed. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like,
Yeah. And it's
so
nice. No, I think it's good. I mean, I don't know how you slow it down, honestly. I mean, I mean, other than just unless you decided, hey, I'm just going to be in a mid-level league and then just do ID camps, but then you run the risk of maybe not being as what do they say, iron sharpens iron. So if you're not
yep.
playing against good talent, it's gonna hurt you when you go into your ID camps potentially. So
Well, we talked about it. I mean, it's as much as Denver is what it is, and that's all it is we are in the full push. So it's 12 to 15 months maybe of just throw everything at it. And at that time, it'll be sad because it'll be done. But that's when we'll maybe take a trip to the Caribbean of the North.
yeah, dude, it'll be different. I mean, I won't miss the money portion. I'll miss all this stuff. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of time, and it's
Yeah.
hard on us. I just imagine on the girls' bodies. It's tough on their bodies. So
Is Amelia fully driving yet?
no, because she's an idiot. She took forever to get her driver's test done and get her written test done. She can't even get it until like the end of September. And and even though she's turned, and we kept hounding her, we're like, you got to get this done. You got to get it done. She kept delaying it, and I'm like, ugh. Like, you realize we're the ones that have to deal with you,
Right?
Because you're not driving. So, anyways, we still got another 2 months of her driving around before we can set her loose. So no. How about Macy? She get hers?
Her birthday, May 2nd. Sorry. Yeah. So
You have a good kid.
I got a pain kid. But yes, I used to love going to practice. I did it forever because I love the tranquility of it. Nobody would I'd go sit on a chair and just stare at the trees. Like that I miss, but I don't miss the hour drive every day down to Appleton and back. That I'm good with.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind missing that too, because Sarah's doing it right now, but I'm going to have to as well. So anyways.
But
so there you go. That was our Colorado trip. Yeah.
Yeah. Camps. Amelia's done a few camps.
Yeah. Yeah, she did a few. We had like 3 back to back. We had is it 3? Well, she went down to Iowa, did the Iowa camp. That was a 2-day, and then we came right back and went to Marquette University down in Milwaukee, and that was and those were good. I mean, I didn't get to see anything down at the Iowa one. Sarah said it was really cool. It was a nice campus, really nice town. She said she really liked the community of Iowa. She's a reminder a lot of Appleton or something similar to that. Just a very like decent sized town, but not overly big. But really good program. Iowa is really, really tough. Amelia said she enjoyed that one. Really liked the school, liked everything. And she really enjoyed Marquette as well. She said she liked their campus. She liked how compact it was. Really liked the coaches. So yeah, those were fun. And she had a good time. How'd you guys do it up in NMU?
NMU, yeah, we ended up doing so. It was a 4-day camp, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We ended up going up because there was a Monday, Tuesday opportunity that we took. So we drove up Sunday night. Macy went all day, and it was an all-day event, 8:30 to 8:30 on Monday, Tuesday. And she really liked the campus, which I was very happy with because I think I love it up there now. Is it something she kind of went in going, I don't know about Northern Michigan University, but she came out and Coach Sandoval was really nice. He did bring up the podcast tour, said that he doesn't do a lot of podcasts, but we seem like a couple of normal guys. So he did our show, but he had a good time.
Good.
But the assistant coach was great to Macy. She had reached out before the camp, during like, hey, here's my number, text me questions, or I'll meet you here because you're not on campus. Invited her to spend time with the girls. There was a girl from our club from the 07s that Macy knew, so that kind of helped. she said she did well. She said they were really looking at 25 still. So I never know what to expect. You hope they come running over to you and they give their dad a big hug and they're like, "Welcome, we'd love to give you all of our money." But that doesn't seem to happen.
It's weird. Yeah, they never did
Yeah.
that.
No. Nope, not yet. So, but overall, I think the more camps you do, the more comfortable you get.
I would agree with that for sure. I that's one thing I noticed with Amelia, and I'm sure Macy was this way as well. It's just you can just tell it's like a little overwhelming. And one of the things that some girls are really outgoing, and Amelia is just not super outgoing. So I know that can be a little bit of a challenge, and that's something we talked to her about, like being a little bit more personable when you meet somebody you don't know. A lot of people who know her are like, oh, she's friendly, but it's like her. They don't know you,
Yep.
right? And they're approaching you for the first time, and I think that's always a little bit of a barrier. It's definitely for her that some girls may feel a little bit more comfortable in.
Well, and I heard too is you don't want to, like, everybody's thinking you need to go 8th grade, freshman year, sophomore. Like, you want to go to these camps when you're ready. That's what I was told. Like, if you go freshman year to the ID camp and you're a 15-year-old kid, you're playing against 18-year-olds. That's a pretty good gap. So it is good to get started, but you really your end of your sophomore into your junior year, when you're developed even more, that's when you got to attack. But you got to do the homework these days. I mean, they want to know who you are before you get there. The film. It seems like you send out film, and the minute they're like, "You come to our camp," and you're like, "Well,
right?
Is there any need to come to camp, coach?" I mean, so
yeah, that's one thing that Amelia said that the only school that told her this was Marquette, and Marquette said, "Hey, email us and we'll give you a full breakdown of like what we thought of you," which I wish more would do that. I know that's pretty tough ask because when people come, there's a lot of kids, but apparently they will actually give you like what they thought. Now, will they, how detailed will that be? I don't know, but I think that's the hardest part that she's coming away with is you go and then there's nothing. Like she hasn't heard anything from them yet, which, that tells me that's probably not interested. But at least it'd be nice to at least know, do you like me still or do you not like me still? You invited me there. Do you like me or not? And I think that's one of the harder parts. And I've talked to her about, you just have to kind of have to almost be aggressive and just say, hey, I'm just looking for some feedback. Are you still interested in me being there? I'm very interested in going to your school. Are you interested in me? And I think that's a hard thing to ask because if they answer that kind of stinks. It's like asking a girl out. When you go and you ask her out, she might say no. And then you're like, oh, so
that's
what? Not you.
Yeah.
Not you. I dealt with that, but it's just
I just didn't ask girls out.
You don't ever want to put yourself out there and then you get rejected. And so I think that's been a really challenging thing for Amelia, is just that she doesn't really said it, but I gotta believe that that's a little part of it. I mean, it's human nature. You almost don't want to ask because you're scared what the answer might be. And it's like, I just tell her, it's like, I think all these athletes and all these girls should ask, because then right? And it might sting if they say no, that, hey, we're not interested anymore. But now you can focus your efforts somewhere else rather than keep sending them crap every week. And they don't give it. They're just hitting delete because they don't care anymore.
Yeah. I did tell Macy, like, there's been some D3 schools. She's talked to the phone. She's got a recruit day at Whitewater where they invited her to come amongst the recruits. And I'm like, you should go to all this. I mean, go, you never know, right? Because at first, like 2 years ago, he's like, I don't know if I want to play Division III soccer. Well, Division III is in the state, and there's some excellent schools, and there's some great soccer, and it's not a full-time job.
Right.
So that was kind of the issue, like you said, coming out without Northern Michigan. But she said they talk to the 25s a lot. And I'm like, well, if that's a school you'd be interested in, then you keep sending stuff and you'll see, you'll know. Cause I said, it is kind of like dating, right? I mean, let's be honest. There's a girl that you might not like, but all of a sudden she likes you and you're like, all right, that
nice
might
to be
my
wanted.
Choice. Right. So all of a sudden that school might be on your radar, right? Like, right. And it could be, look at we did that Stillwater camp, and
Yeah.
I'll do a shout out to Emily from our team, who got that I know was the first offer,
Yeah.
was Minnesota Duluth. Now they had sent Mace an email like send your schedule, and she did, but it kind of stopped there. But Emily was relentless in camps. Emily and Greg have been relentless in information out there. They are doing everything that they need to do, and I think we're doing probably 40% of that. And that could be an issue on our end.
Yeah. In talking to Greg, she's by far the most dedicated on reaching out to schools and like persistently sending. I give her a lot of credit. It sounds like she's really doing a nice job. I mean, I'm really impressed with, and she's, I think it's paying off for her. She's getting a lot of interest. She's talking to a lot of schools, and that's great because she gets to kind of field a lot of different perspectives and see which one she likes. It's really smart.
Yeah, I'd actually really like to have Greg on and just go through what is an angle from somebody that we know doing, because I leave it up to Macy, and I don't know if that's the right answer either, because she's a 16-year-old kid that's got a lot of things going on, right? I mean, when I was 16, I just wanted to get in the car and go. I didn't care about this college, and we're like, where do you want to go to school? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, I didn't pick my school the senior year because I only had like two choices. I mean, it wasn't that hard. So I think there's a lot out there that there's put on these girls, and there's a lot of chatter because of the level we're at. I did go through just because UWGB played today against St. Thomas, and one of Macy's teammates from Bayport made GB preferred walk on, and they did not a scrimmage, but it was a game. But she got 16 minutes. A couple of the Kimberly girls got 16 minutes. The young girl out of Pulaski from our club got, Kevin said, almost half like 25 to 30 minutes. So,
really,
so that's really cool. So it's interesting following them, and that's UWGB. Where again, Macy, I don't know if she'd ever go there. It's a local school, but it's a Division I. So I don't even know if that's on the radar for them but it's good. They have 3 or 4 girls from our club that made their squad this year. So they're looking local, which I think is a fantastic move. They got some really good talent from us. So hopefully those girls do well, because it opens up that door, right? All of a sudden, the Wisconsin United Loons are turning out some better talent. They're getting noticed. I didn't, everybody talks ECNL and all that. And I did look at GB's roster, and there was a lot of USYS girls, which was fantastic. So,
so you never know. I definitely think that's going to be an option. I know Amelia talked to Green Bay, and they said they were going to be at a couple of our games. So I just think it makes a lot of sense from them to make sure that they're in their own backyard. I mean, they don't have to really put a lot of effort into seeing our games. Why wouldn't you go to this club that's right in your backyard? So I even if they don't find anything, it's like they don't have to expend a lot of time or effort to check it out. So it'd be stupid for them not to at least look.
Well, exactly. And I told Macy this, the more like Emily doing her due diligence and getting her name out there, they're coming to our games. Like, she is pulling in coaches. And I did talk to Greg, and Greg said that Emily mentioned to UMD, Minnesota Duluth, that there's a lot of really good talent on our team. Like, she was kind enough not to just say, hey, don't worry about everybody else. This is my deal. Right. Like
I carry that. Right.
She said, because, hey, you should really check out my team. Which I think is a unbelievable thing for an athlete to do. Because usually,
that's cool.
We tell Macy, you're not competing. We're not competing against Amelia. We're not competing against Emily for anything, but you can help each other and use each other for the benefit of each other. So
for sure.
Yeah. So we're hoping that kind of builds.
Yeah, no, it's been an interesting thing. I mean, recruiting, the recruiting season, I will tell you, I had no idea what to expect. And I didn't know.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Here, if you need to take a little moment, I can talk for a little bit.
All right. I do.
All right.
Hello.
All right. So Toby's going to deal with that. So here's one of the things that has been interesting to me about the about recruiting is it's just you didn't know exactly. I mean, you kind of knew what to expect because you're doing a lot of reading online about what to expect. But the best advice so far that I can give people is be patient. I mean, you just don't know exactly when those calls are going to come, and unfortunately, sometimes they don't come for a little bit, and you can't lose sight of that. You just have to keep being dedicated to the process, and that process is reaching out to your the schools that you're interested in, trying to be really honest with them, asking questions like, "Hey, is this something that you're still interested in me?" Finding out if there's a mutual interest, and then trying to go to some of those camps. And once you go to some of those camps, then being really diligent about just the communication. And I think that's one of the things that Greg's daughter has been doing really well. Emily is just that constant communication. He said she'll almost email every week or every couple of weeks or every month, which is just awesome. So if you're in this recruiting game, don't get discouraged. It is definitely something that can be a little bit overwhelming. I know I've been overwhelmed just even thinking about it. But in the end, the girls got to take care of it, or the guys got to take care of it themselves, and that's the reality of it. So that's my little take on the recruiting side. It's definitely been I guess it's been about what I expected, but it's definitely a little frustrating. So because you just never know where you stand half the time, and I think that's the hardest part. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about while Toby's off tonight is we are starting youth area football here in Stevens Point. And I, as you know, am on the board. And so I get involved in youth area football. And one of the things that I thought that is at least interesting to discuss is, just in youth area football, the way that I'll set the pretext for this, we actually set up our teams by a draft. So we do what's called a combine. We'll actually have the kids come together. We test them out, test their 40s, test their agility, we try to do as best we can to make the teams be, how do you say, balanced, I guess. So that, you don't get one super team or an A team and a B team. We want our teams to be really balanced. But what I always find interesting and amusing is we're talking about third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders, sixth graders. That's our range, right? Is how competitive some of these dads get, man, because we have volunteer coaches. That's the way it goes. And you get coaches just like anything with volunteer. Some are amazing, some are learning, some are mediocre, some are just downright bad because all they're focused on is just their kid, right? And we've got coaches that every year, man, they are scheming, trying to figure out how to get the best team possible, right? And we've made it a club policy that we're trying to make the teams as balanced as we can. We want them to be, competitive. We don't want one team to be better. But every year, these same dudes are just constantly scheming. And it's so amusing to me that you're looking at fifth graders and you're trying to figure out how to stack your team and make your team be as best as it can. When in the end, the goal of the club is to develop players, right? It's not necessarily about winning and losing at fifth grade. But you got guys like literally trying to negotiate with other coaches, trying to get players off their team. They're trying to, because if you get a dad to coach with you, I use air quotes, then the kid gets to automatically be on your team. So then you got guys going out and recruiting the dad to be on their team because their kids are really good. And it's just, I don't know. To me, it's just kind of crazy. Every time I've done this, I've coached, I usually end up starting out by myself. I don't even have another person with me because I love football, but man, I don't know. Maybe as I've gotten older, I just don't try to win all the time. But to me, it's about trying to develop the kids, and I don't get into this recruiting game and trying to build and stack teams. To me, it's just kind of crazy, but it is what it is. It's just an interesting observation, and I'm sure some of you have probably seen this in your youth sports where you just get that like overly competitive. I don't know. There's just something about football. It seems like it really brings it out. Maybe it's because it's the dad trying to live out their dreams when they were players. But there's a lot of finagling and a lot of people trying to stack teams, and I just find that really amusing. But it is what it is. I still really enjoy it. You know, the club over here, I don't know what some of the ones are like in your community, but we've really got a club that's really does a nice job. They provide all the equipment, and we're definitely having a lot of fun. So this combine just ended. We just did 3 days in a row of the combine, which was definitely a lot of fun. But man, I'm tired. Like today was our 3rd day, and I was beat. You know, it definitely takes a lot of energy out of you when you're out there organizing, 145 kids running around a single football field. So, so that was definitely something that I thought was a little bit interesting. And like I said, it's always amusing to me when people are trying to finagle. The other thing that I do find interesting with some of these is just all the different leagues and how they are, how all the rules that they put into it. Like ours, they require that you have to have a cheerleading squad for ours, which is, I think, always kind of funny. Like you can't even be in the league if your team doesn't have a cheerleading squad, which is kind of goofy. But I don't know. Hey, does your youth area football, do they require you, Toby, to have a cheerleading squad? Do you know when you did it?
No.
Okay. Our league that we're in, you have to have concessions and you have to have a cheerleading squad, which I just thought was really kind of funny.
Wow. When I ran our youth program here at one of our middle schools, Edison, one of the moms like, do you mind if we do a cheer squad? I'm like, I just don't want anything to do with it. Like,
yeah. Hey, you're a cheer guy though.
Well, if I'd have known my future, I'd have jumped right in.
Oh, that's awesome. Is she okay? Is Macy good?
So that was our chicken moment, right? I noticed Macy called me twice on my phone, and I'm like, hey, I'm on a podcast, leave me alone. Pretty big deal. And Jackie came right down. She's like, you need to speak. She's pulled over and bah! And I'm like, uh-oh. So she forgot to turn her lights on because Jackie's car is a standard. But on the 4Runner, like you have to turn them on yourself. And then the insurance card wasn't up to date. And I'm like, oh, snaps. So she's like, Dad, what do I do? And I'm like, all right, well, we're just going to do this. We're just going to say the officer's going to come back and Dad's going to talk to him. So he was really nice. He's like, I know you have insurance. I'm like, do you want me to bring it down? Do you want me to? And I have no idea where it is. So I have to call. And he's like, no, she's not. We're not. She's fine. She's not. And then he's like, your license plates are bad. And I'm like, well, they're up to date. He's like, yeah, but they're bad. And I go, hey, why are they bad? And he's like, that's a great question. They don't make them like they used to. I go, why is that on me? Why do I have to get new plates? Like, so she was like 5 minutes from home too. Driving down Highway 41, no lights. Probably thought she was a drinker.
You didn't tell her. What do I do? Just gun it. Just
don't you ever pull over.
Oh, well, I'm glad she's okay. I mean, that's at first when I heard Jackie, I was like, oh boy, something bad happened.
Is it bad that I didn't want to get off the podcast? I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want anything to do with this.
Oh, it's funny. Anyways, as long as all is good. So all right. But anyways, I was just telling him a little story about our youth area football where we're.
My brother-in-law just showed up.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah.
I was just telling him a little story about the coaches that we have in our youth area football, how they are constantly trying to finagle to get the best team, even though our stated club goal is to just be, like all even teams, but yet they'll go out and recruit like the best player's dad to be a coach because the coach, then you get them on your team automatically. And I don't know. It's like, I don't understand trying to scheme and take over a fifth grade football team. I don't get it.
Yeah, isn't it funny when they all get to the thing and everybody knows each other and there's like 3 dads coaching a team and their kids are the best, but since they're coaching they have to play together. Deploy.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Anyways, so that was pretty much all we talked about.
Frazzled. I got to get back.
No, that's all right. So the other thing that I thought was really interesting, and I'm gonna try to do this for one of our shows, is nutrition. I don't know if I've been diving a little bit into nutrition, and I do think it's something I want to try to bring up on the show, especially young athletes nutrition. So if anybody has anything on that, I would encourage them to send us maybe some topics on that, because that's something I'd like to start talking about, and just kind of what you've been running into with you and your daughters, and then kind of what we've been running into, and maybe what we're finding works and doesn't work. Just because I think that's such a big part of being successful is having proper nutrition. I'll try to get some reading done. This book that I've been literally sitting here on my desk, I got to read it. But it's something that I think is an interesting topic that we could dive into. So, but that's kind of all.
Hey, quick question: Did you turn down your mic? I can barely hear you.
No, I did a little bit, but because I thought maybe our mics were too, you're really loud. Oh. So I tried to turn yours down, but maybe I turned mine down.
I could have been. I could move mine over to the side.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's faint. It's not as loud as it was.
Well, that's not good.
But I can hear you. Yeah. Now it seems to be a little better.
We should probably do a mic check before we start this. You'd think 65 into this, we'd know what we're doing. We have no clue.
No,
we lost our Facebook link. We don't know how to get it back. The stupid Riverside won't let us link it anymore. So I don't know. We're a train wreck.
I might call Riverside and be like, what's going on? They probably want us to subscribe.
I don't know. They changed the way it links up, and you have to sync. You have to send Riverside to Facebook, and then it authorizes it. And it's like, well, you have a page, and I'm like, yeah. And so I say this page, and then they're like, it's not. It'll even show it. Judging bouncing balls. Do you want to link that one? Yes. And then you hit yes. Page not found. And then it just nothing, and you can't do anything. So I have no idea how to link it anymore. So that's why we've gone to YouTube, because that one actually works. So I don't know. So
built up all that fan base on Facebook.
Sorry,
we'll figure it out.
So that's why we just keep posting the link. At least you can go from there to here, and
yeah,
we'll figure it out.
What else do we have to talk about? I know just mentioned nutrition.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, the fall season's starting up. I mean, all the football is back for high school sports, so that's back in session as of this Tuesday, I think it was. We've got cross country and girls golf, and all that stuff is starting up here very shortly. So it's, the schools are popping here. I know you guys over at Bayport are too. So, you're going to have a lot more athletes coming back into the fray. So we'll see how. I heard Bayport has a new coach, Steve Jorgensen.
Yep. Yeah, we relieved the old coach of his duties. I was thinking he'd be a perfect guest, but I don't know how to get him on to find out. So I don't think our podcast would be he'd be like, hey, here's my story. But if I ever run into him, I will ask.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be fun. But I mean, we'll see how how everybody does. I mean, Spash, I think, will be pretty decent with football this year. I think they're going to be pretty solid, and I think Bayport's always solid. They sending people to Division I, so should be a fun year for the Spash and Bayport. But then also just around the state as well. Be kind of interesting to see how everybody does.
Yeah, there's that school to the south. The name escapes me, but I'm assuming they'll have a good season. Cam. I don't know, but they're pretty. They're always pretty tough. Cacaona.
It's like that scene from Dumb and Dumber where he's like, Slippy, Slappy,
Simpson,
Samsonite, Swenson's Samsonite. I was way off. Oh yeah, Kiwani. Well, where's Kiwani? I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm excited. The boys' soccer season kicks off in about 10
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Bayport players. So we're excited. Mr. Travis Herber is our boys coach. His daughter played with Macy on the girls' side, and then she's now going to be a freshman in college playing down in Springfield. So we're gonna go out. It's the weather in the boys' season is a lot nicer than the girls' season.
It's ridiculous.
I know. Why
Yeah.
don't they just play everything in the fall?
Yeah, it would. I wish we would, honestly. And I know that there's some issues there potentially with like transportation and stuff, just because it's more buses. But man, I wish they would. That'd be nice.
Yeah. There's nothing worse
Really
than a snow game.
Yeah, and we have way too many of those. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So, anyways, we talked about that already. We don't need to rehash it. So, yeah. But anyways, hey, it's gonna be fun. We'll get back more on track here. I mean, especially with club season coming back and schedules being similar, or more, more steady or consistent. We'll start getting back.
My
and I'll
goal
see
is
if I can
too is to reach out to a couple Division III coaches. We've had 1 and 2. I'd like a Division III coach, and then I'd like to see if we could find and maybe it'd be Spash, a high school football coach to come on and hype up the
I could
season a
ask
little
Brian.
bit. I think that'd be fun. Just because you got your finger on the pulse, or I'll reach out to a couple coaches around here too.
Yeah,
Some
I'll see if Ryan would be interested. I can ask him.
I mean, just think we brought Hockey on from Spash, and they went on to a great
Hockey.
season. So you might want to sell that.
That's right. That's right. Would you like the?
I mean, he was a nobody, and next thing you know, he's on judging bouncy balls, and all of a sudden, bam, winning.
Yeah. God, I hope they win state. They could have a chance this year too. I mean, they're just
Really?
been knocking on the door, but they just can't quite get it done.
Well, tell
We'll see
Polkamp he
this
better
year.
come on during the run. He could use a little judging balls juju. You might not want to put it that way.
I won't.
Podcast mojo.
I'm going to tell him to start growing out his hair for hockey hair now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll start sending you pictures to show him.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
All right, cool. Well, man, you have a good night. It's nice chatting with you. And obviously, if you have any topics you'd like us to cover for the upcoming season, club or high school, shoot us an email.
Yeah, please do.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Oops.